Charleston County RMC Charlie Lybrand is back in the headlines after the State Ethics Commission charged him with an ethics violation. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with him one-on-one. Charlie, it is so good to see you again.
Thank you.
Oh, good seeing you. You are back in the headlines again. The headline from the Charleston City paper appeared on my Twitter timeline, and it read this: Charleston County official charged with ethics violation. And when I click on the article, Charlie, it says, quote, Charlie Lybrand has been formally charged with an ethics violation regarding the use of government personnel or facilities for campaign purposes by the State Ethics Commission. I'm wondering, what has it been like over the past couple of days of being Charlie Lybrand? What has it been like to be you?
No difference.
How so?
I mean, why would it be different?
You stacking up against a couple of ethics charges here, Charlie.
Yeah, but I've spoken to the folks at the Ethics Commission,
Right.
and they have agreed that in the scheme of things, this is not like stealing. It's not like any of the other things. This is pretty much sour grapes from a sore loser, because what occurred was on the very bottom of my sheet, where I have my reelection commission, where I have my logo at the very bottom. I have my home address. I've got my where I live. There's a home phone number and another where it says office phone.
And that's the part that people are kind of upset about, Charlie. They're saying that you're using your office number to basically use your
Well, it's been there for 16 years.
That's what I heard.
It was there in 1998.
Right.
First time I ran for re-election.
Right.
It was there in 2002. It was there in 2008. It was there in 2012.
And 14, of course.
And 14. And it's an inadvertent use of a telephone number. This is my job. I don't have a second job. This is all I have. It never occurred to me that that was not supposed to be there.
Out of 18 years, Charlie?
Never. I didn't even realize it was there. I just called the folks who did the stationery,
Right.
and I said, here are the new names, and they printed it up and sent it to me.
Okay.
I can tell you, I've been here over 20 years, and we've never had a Democratic deed come through, and we've never had a Republican deed come through.
Well, this is nonpartisan.
No, it's a partisan office. I'm a Republican.
Right.
And so the deeds are just nonpartisan. I
That's
don't
what I'm
allow
saying.
my folks to get involved in politics because I know if they get involved in politics, the next guy coming through there at will employees, he can get rid of them. So I don't take money from them. They don't go to any of the political things from me. If someone were to call my office, they would not be calling about giving me money or anything like that. This was done after the fact. This is just one of many things that this fella has tried to do.
And you're talking about Brady Quirk-Garvan, who was the Charleston County Democratic Party chairman.
The hyphenated guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he basically said this: it is appalling that taxpayer money was used to re-elect Mr. Lybrand to a cushy six-figure job with the county. What do you tell yourself when you hear that?
I think it's sour grapes. If this job were so cushy as he said, why did his guy spend $47,000 to try to get it? I spent $12,000 and was reelected. They spent $47,000 to try to take me down with nothing but lies. If you look at our shop, we have one of the most efficient, one of the most technologically advanced. When you saw the articles that they ran against me,
Right.
oh my heavens, I used to tell my folks if I didn't know me better, I wouldn't vote for me myself. It was all lies, but it's what sours people on politics. I think it's one of the reasons across this great country of ours, we've lost Democratic governors, we've lost Democratic legislators, we've lost Democratic county councils, and we've lost people like myself. Over 3,000 Democrats have been defeated in the last 10 years because of this kind of nonsense. It has nothing to do with running this office. It's one small telephone number on a sheet of paper, and they're trying to make it out like it's something terrible. When the ethics folks, when I got the letter, I immediately called the ethics department, And I said, what is this all about? And they said, sir, I'm sorry, but it's against the law to have your telephone number. And I said, I acknowledge that. They said, would you like to come up to the hearing? I said, no. I said, let's work this out now, because it won't happen again, because for one thing, I'm not running. Second thing, I didn't realize that it was against the law. No one has ever called here and used this office as a political standing ground for anything. And so what's occurred is that I'm going to pay a fine.
Right,
I don't know what it is, but I will pay the fine, and that will be the end of it. All of this other stuff is just pure baloney. Mr. Hyphen, he's trying to make out like it's a big deal.
And you said you lost yourself. Tell me, when did you lose yourself?
What do you mean?
What you just said. You said we've lost Democratic governors and whatnot, and then you said you lost yourself.
No, I said the Democrats have lost in the last 10 years.
Right.
There are very few Democratic governors,
Right,
and
right.
I think it's because of people like Mr. Hyphenated Guy, who has just been, he has been so damaging to the thing called politics that they lose jobs because they're mean. Nobody wants meanness, and that's all this is pure meanness.
And you said
Do you realize, let me tell you, not only is it this ethics thing, he filed another ethics
Right.
on me because the Republican Party sent something out with my email address on it. Made a big deal about that. Come to find out, I didn't know anything about it, so they threw that out. It's not even part of it anymore.
Well, so let me ask you this. How much of this is politics, and how much of it is really truth?
100% of it's politics.
Okay.
There's no question that my telephone is on this letterhead,
Okay.
but it was not put there for political reasons. It was put there for people to get in touch with me.
So you didn't have a number campaign. It was
No.
this phone number is all you had.
This phone number here, this letter does not go out in a mass mailing.
Okay.
This goes out to folks like who are on this letter
Right,
here.
right, right.
These people here are some of the creme de creme. Governor Edwards is no longer
Probably here.
on here. He's passed away.
Right, unfortunately.
So we changed the names of people on here, and I send it out and collect money, $100, $50, $20, whatever it is. It's not something that I would use as a. I just can't even believe we're talking about it, to be honest with you, because it's there. It's been there for 20 plus years. I'm going to pay a fine, and it's over with.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be removed from office. I'm not going to be embarrassed. Everybody that talks to me says, Charlie, come on, is that what they're talking about? And I say, I'm afraid so. They say, well, that's just mean politics. That's all it is to it.
And you said you're not embarrassed. So tell me, where were
No,
you?
I'm not embarrassed.
Tell me, where were you emotionally when you got that phone call from the State Ethics Commission?
I'd heard about it last year,
Okay.
whenever the ethics investigator came through. And I said, this is just sour grapes. He said, no, Mr. Lybrand, we call it something different at the Ethics Commission.
Which is?
We call it rock throwing. He said, when the losers lose, you'd be surprised how many rocks they throw to try to bring down their opponent. And he said, that's all this is rock throwing. This was filed after the election. It wasn't filed before the election.
That's what I read in the city paper.
It was filed in sometime after the election. What good does that do?
Well, Brady went on to say the following. He said, quote, "To me, the actual punishment is less important than that he's held accountable for his actions. And hopefully it sends a message to our elected officials that you cannot use taxpayers' resources on your re-election efforts. That's unethical and wrong." So I'm wondering, what's your message to people right now?
Well, it's an inadvertent use of a telephone. No, I didn't mean anything by it.
Okay.
I really didn't.
Look at Charlie.
I mean, I'm just blown away by this guy's making such a big deal some almost 11 months after the election. It's just sour grapes on his part, that's all. They did everything they could to beat me, and they lost. My opponent spent $47,000.
You said
I
that.
spent $12,000, and they still lost. They came in here and they took pictures of things and misrepresented them, like the books back there in the back. Oh, you would have thought there were books everywhere. Those books had tape on them. They had already been scanned in and were on the internet.
As a matter of fact, you guys just reprogrammed your...
Absolutely. We've done everything that you could possibly do. But yet, here we have Mr. What's his name?
Brady Quirk-Garvan.
I don't want to call his name because I have so little use for the guy. He's just, you know, what's he going to do? He's just making noise, and he's making it worse for the Democrats, because there are a lot of really good Democrats. I've got a lot of friends on the other side, but this guy is not one of them, and it's just nonsense.
So let me recap, actually. Yes or no? Did you use taxpayer resources during your 2014 political campaign at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yes or no? The State Ethics Commission says you included your office telephone number on a campaign fundraising letter.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes or no? Was it an oversight?
It was an oversight in the fact that I probably should have recognized that I was going to be asking for donations. I put it on there for people to get in touch with me because this is where I am.
Right.
8 hours a day,
You're
5
right.
days a week.
You're right.
If somebody wants to call Charlie Lybrand, they don't call me at home. They don't call me on my cell phone. They call me at this office. That's what that was about. It wasn't about politics. There's never been, in fact, that was one of the things that the ethics guy did. He checked with all of my people and said, do you get political calls about fundraising over this phone? They said, no, sir, we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to be involved in politics. And I do that for their benefit.
Yeah. I understand. Well, Charlie Lybrand, this was a great interview. Thank you so much for your time.